the depot in Cape May. Very exciting stuff, I tell you. This is the rail trail. There's the rail trail store, the rail trail folks. And we're gonna go outside. Hey, how's it going? Say hi to all the kids at Bridgeton Library. Hi. Yes, these are the really grumpy, not friendly at all rail trail employees types. Stay in school. Yay! Thank you, folks. All right, now this is it. They are rubber. Yes, I won the bet. Oh, it's like hard plastic. Glenn said it was steel.
We doing it again?
I think they're separate. They're just up against each other.
So, excuse me, ma'am. I understand it was your birthday yesterday. Mm-hmm. So, how are you feeling about what you're doing today? You're very excited, rail trailing?
I feel so good.
Who are you and why are you in my video?
I'm a Daria Senior. And
That's right. That's Mama.
And I am the mother of two wonderful daughters who's taking me on this trip and a fabulous grandson.
Yes.
So, basically, the trip is going to look somewhat like this. We're going to have a guide bike in the front, a guide bike in the back. You guys are going to be all throughout in the middle. And we're going to stop 3 times along the way. We're going to stop once here at Family Preserve where we'll talk about, I'm not going to spoil it yet. I'm actually not even going to tell you what we're going to talk about until we're there. And then we're going to go all the way to the canal where we'll stop. You guys will hop off. We're going to spin the bike around and then we'll talk to you about the history of the canal. World War II facts that are just right there in the canal. And then we're going to keep on going back to the station. But on the way, we're actually going to stop at Garrett once again, where you guys are actually going to hop off your bikes, and we will talk to you about the ecology of the area, and then you guys will have some time to explore. So, it's going to take you about an hour and a half, hour 45. Sound good to everyone? Yeah. All right, once we're out there, we're not coming back until we turn the bikes around. So, you guys forgot your sunscreen. Now would be the time to get it. All right, do not turn around if you forgot it. So, basically, let's talk about Revolution Rail now. I probably should have started with. But we are Revolution Rail. We started in 2017 in North Creek, New York, which is a tiny little town of about 625 people year round. We actually were able to bring 30,000 riders through last year from our north and south run. So we're really excited to have you guys out here today. That's with Cape May. This is one of our newer additions. We also have one in South Fork, Colorado. If you're ever out there, come and join us. But yeah, so we started in December of last year. People really seem to like it. So we came back, started in March down here, and then we're going all the way to December. So, that's all I have to say. And then I'll pass it over to Ron. He's going to talk to you about the safety features.
Morning, everybody. So, as one of you guys, really the only things I'm concerned about is that, number one, you guys have a great time. And number two, we get you out there safely. Number three, we get you back safely. Not a lot to know about the bike. We have a brake on it. It's in the right rear seat of the quad. It's in the right seat of the doubles. We just ask that you assign somebody to be responsible for the brake. The bikes roll, so as the person who's responsible for the brake should be the first person on the bike. Okay, so that they can provide a stable platform by squeezing the brake and everybody else can get on, so the bike doesn't roll back and forth as everybody's getting on. We don't bump any knees or elbows. Each of the bikes is equipped with a seat belt. You can fasten that. It doesn't have to be super tight. Just make, so you're comfortable. The seat is also adjustable, so for comfort, you move back and forth. There's a lever on the side. It's on the right outside of your leg. We can help you with that. Please let us know. Just put your hand up, give us a holler. We want you to be comfortable on the bike. So anytime during the trip, if you need an adjustment and you're having trouble with it, let us know. Also, the brake man is going to be responsible for when we slow down and we stop. We just ask you to signal, put your right hand up, so everybody behind you knows that you're braking. We don't have any rear-end collisions. We don't have to deal with any whiplash. The bikes are also, as we're out there, keep a distance of, say, 20 to 25 feet between the bikes, if possible. Partly for safety reasons, partly so that everybody can have their own experience. If you're in a bigger group and you want to stay together, that's fine. bikes are recumbent in nature. So if you have anything of value in your pockets, just secure it now, put it in a bag. If you have a zipper on your pocket, zip the pocket up. Really difficult if you drop something on the tracks, your wallet, your keys, or something like that. Really difficult to find. And I was recently made aware that it costs $260 to have a locksmith come and get you back into your car. So that would be really bad. That's really it. If anybody has any questions or anything of that nature. Also, if anybody has any medical conditions that we should be aware of, just let us know ahead of time. Everybody's trained in first aid, just so we can react if something happens.
I do want whistle one though.
I love you. Make sure your stuff don't fall out of your bag.
Oh, we go.
Stop the traffic or what?
Do they stop at traffic? That's
Yes,
a good
they
point.
do.
That's
They
a
do.
really good point.
I watched the video.
Or is it good?
Hey, Kaden, look back. Is it risky? Kaden.
This is so great. This is such a great resting position for my feet.
Thank you for taking me around. I really appreciate it.
Here's some stationary feet that are not moving whatsoever. Here's another pair of stationary feet. Oh, she's doing it for the camera. Look how beautiful. I think with 4 of us, we can really get going. Don't you just want to do this just on our own and then just see how fast we can go and then how slow we can go and
It really rides itself.
I'll film them to see what their faces are looking like. Hey,
I'm the brake person. Let me know if you want to
we're
brake.
having so much fun. There goes Matt. Oh, it's so pretty out here. Goodness gracious. Hey. Look at that technology in motion. They've got 2 turnarounds and they're turning them all around, and that's how it happens. Everybody, what's happening? Welcome to Storytime Stories with your friend, Miss Adaria. We're doing something a little different today. We're going to have you look at the books from the top down, just so you can see the pictures a little more clearly. But please know that I am here. Hey, what's up? You're just not going to see me. And also I wanted to mention, did you enjoy that rail trail video? Wasn't that exciting and beautiful? And don't you just want to go run there and go on the rail trail? And a big shout out and a big thanks to my dear family, my mom, Adaria, my sister Emily, and my nephew Caden for putting up with me for having a camera on their rail trail adventure. They were very kind once they got over it. So yay. So I figured, since we were going on the theme of rails and bikes, that we would read 2 really cool books today. One of them is this wonderful book, and it's called The Prairie Train by Antoine O. Flatharta. It sounds like an Irish name to me, and it's illustrated by Eric Roman. So look at that. And Antoine O. Flatharta is dedicating this book for Eoin, E-O-I-N. And look how beautiful that illustration is. So here we go. And wouldn't you know, it starts with, once upon a time, there was a train that dreamed of being a boat. This was a time when trains were new and wonderful things, a time when trains blew clouds of steam, a time when train engines were shiny and extraordinary as rocket ships. There was a time like that. Look at that nice picture. You see the ship? The train that dreamed of being a boat traveled through a vast, flat prairie in a land called the New World. Though in fact this world was very old, and people had lived there long before the shiny new train tracks were nailed into the ground. Now the tracks stretched from sea to sea across the entire New World. It seemed to the prairie train that the tracks went on forever, on and on in one long, flat, straight line. The prairie train longed to be an old-fashioned boat with billowing sails to take a journey that wasn't set by tracks. You see the steam from the train in the distance? Look how pretty that is over the prairie. One day, a boy named Connor arrived in the city of Chicago with his mother and father. They had come from a place called Connemara, a place on the edge of a faraway island. They had sailed across the Atlantic Ocean to land in New York on the shores of America. Now they were about to start their final part of their journey on the prairie train. Before Connor left Connemara, his grandfather, who was a boat builder, carved him a toy boat so that Connor would always remember him and the old world that he was leaving behind. Connor held the toy boat tightly in his hand and looked in wonder at the big train engine. Look at that. That's all their possessions they have with them that they took across the Atlantic Ocean. Must have been a exciting and scary journey to not know where you're gonna end up. So the train station was alive with people, all patiently waiting to board the prairie train. They came from faraway places with names like Krakow, Hull, Zagreb, Verona, Inverness, Kronoberg, and Connemara. The prairie train was waiting to carry them to new places with names like Omaha, Kansas, Cheyenne, and San Francisco. Wow, look at that. All those people, all their stuff. Just wondering what their life is going to be like once they reach their new home. As the train left Chicago behind and headed toward the big flat prairies, Connor stared at his small wooden boat and thought about his grandfather. The voices of the grown-ups filled the train with sounds that Connor had never heard before. They talked in the languages of the old world. Connor listened to the voices as the prairie train traveled through towering grass that moved in the wind like gigantic green waves. The train came to a curve, and Connor put his head out the window to see better. It looked so shiny and new. It looked so strong. It looked as if the train engine could travel all the way around the world without stopping. Connor waved at the engine. Hey, engine, what's up? I wonder if the engine waved back. Then, as Connor was waving, his grandfather's boat fell out of the window, oh no, and disappeared into the towering, billowing grass. Stop, cried Connor. My boat! My boat is gone! We can't stop the train, Connor, said his mother. I'll make you another boat, said his father. It wouldn't be the same, said Connor. Please stop the train. His mother gently told him once again, we can't stop the train. And other people in the carriage said in their different languages, can't stop the train, Connor, can't stop the train. Soon even the sound of the train itself seemed to say it. Can't stop the train, can't stop the train, can't stop the train, can't stop the train, can't stop the train. Aw, poor Connor. What a terrible thing to lose. I want to go home, Connor sobbed. The other passengers looked at Connor sadly. They knew how he felt. They tried to comfort him. But all Connor could think of was his wooden boat, now lost forever, somewhere out on the great prairie. The prairie train wanted so much to comfort this little sad boy who was so far from home. It started to bounce and shake gently from side to side. Its wheels started to make a shushing sound. Shusha, 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 shusha. It was now late evening, and Connor's father told Connor to try to get some sleep. When you wake up, we'll be nearer our new home, he told him. The prairie train continued to sing its lullaby, shusha, 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 shusha. Soon Connor began to fall asleep, and he started to dream. He dreamed about his grandfather making boats by the sea in Connemara. Big boats and small boats, long and narrow boats, and toy boats. And then a strange thing happened. Look at that picture. Isn't that beautiful? All the boats and the boy sleeping. So this was his dream. And the water. I love trains. I don't know about you, but I love trains. The prairie train entered Connor's dream. It wasn't on the prairie anymore. It wasn't traveling on a straight lines of tracks. It was out in the middle of the ocean. What? Free to move in any direction. Connor couldn't believe his eyes when he looked out the window. They were sailing on the sea. It was a moonlit night, and the train was riding on top of the silvery waves. It was the greatest feeling in the world to be in this train out in the middle of the sea. It was better than any boat that Connor had ever seen or been in. The prairie train moved faster and faster along the waves. Cut loose from its prairie tracks, it rocked and swayed along the wave tops. So this is what it's like to be in a boat, it said. It sailed on and on toward a distant craggy shoreline. Do you know what a craggy shoreline is? It's a shoreline that has a lot of rocks and mountains and hills and land that comes right down to the ocean, not like a nice, soft, wide beach. So Connor looked out at the waves. He looked up at the moon. It was so full and round it seemed near enough to touch. Connor could see the shore now, and on it a man waving to him. The train rolled up and down with the waves, getting closer and closer to the shore. Soon Connor was close enough to see that the man was his grandfather. "Hello, Connor!" shouted the old man. "I lost the boat you made me," said Connor. "What harm?" shouted the old man. "But I miss it now and I'm sad," said Connor. "There's bigger boats waiting for you," said the old man. "Where?" asked Connor. "In the city you're sailing to," said the old man. "It has boats and ships and carriages and trains. It's a beautiful city built on a bay, and it's all there waiting for you, Connor." The train slowed down until it was almost at a standstill. The prairie train wanted to enjoy every second of the sea-sailing night. "See that moon?" said Connor's grandfather. "It's the same moon that's shining on all of us. It makes no difference if you're in Connemara or San Francisco. It's the same moon that we're all looking up at." As Connor continued to stare at the moon, his sadness started to melt away. All of a sudden, he began to feel a great urge to see this new city they were sailing to. The prairie train felt this need as well, and it turned and headed out to sea. As they turned, the moon began to fade and the sun began to rise. Right before his eyes, Connor could see the waves turning into a swaying sea of grass. They were back on the prairie. Early morning sunlight started to flood the carriage, waking the passengers. Everyone was glad to see Connor feeling better. "All he needed was a good rest," said Connor's mother. Connor looked out the window. He could see the engine up ahead, pulling the train steadily westward. As the morning sun climbed higher and higher in the sky, Connor and the prairie train moved forward together. Oh, and here is the journey that he took. Here's Ireland, right? Here's the boat that he sailed across the Atlantic Ocean. Gosh, I don't know how long that took. Maybe a month or more. And then He probably ended up in Ellis Island in New York, where they processed him and his family so that they could come into the United States. And then he boarded a train. And you know, that's in New Jersey, in Liberty State Park, up in Jersey City. And they got on trains that began there and went all over the country. And they went through Chicago, Omaha, Cheyenne, and up and over the Rockies and the Sierra Nevada mountains, down across the Great Prairie into San Francisco. Actually, it's a wetlands here that's between those mountains. And I used to live there. Miss Adari lived in San Francisco and up a little bit north for about 13 years, and it was beautiful. And I miss it very much sometimes, but I moved back to New Jersey to be with the family. Yay, and to read you books. So how cool was that journey? I think he's going to find lots of boats in San Francisco. That is so nice. So now, because the rail trail is all about bikes and trains on rails, we're going to read you a book about bicycles. So let's bring this book in here. It's called Vera Rides a Bike. So I just wanted to explain a little bit, although you probably know already from watching, but the rail trail is recumbent bicycles that are mounted on a car, and you can either have 2 passengers or 4 passengers. And recumbent only means that you're leaning back on the bicycle and the pedals are in front of you, rather than you're sitting on a little seat and the pedals are underneath you. So that's what recumbent means. And they make bicycles. They make recumbent bicycles that you could buy and ride around in. And I think they're pretty cool looking. It looks like, to me, it looks like the people that are sitting in the recumbent bicycles are sitting in like a lounge chair in their living room, but they have a pedal in front of them and they're just going. It's pretty cool. It redistributes your weight, and it's easier on your back and your backside because you're not putting all the weight on that tiny little seat and your sit bones and your feet and your hands. You're kind of distributing the weight more equally in your body, and maybe it's more comfortable for some people who can't or don't like to ride a normal upright bicycle. So here we go. Vera rides a bike. When did you start riding bikes? I started riding bikes when I was like 2 or 3 years old. I loved it. They couldn't keep me off of my bike. And I couldn't wait to get a regular bike. And I think I got a 2-wheel bike for the first time when I was about 5. And I got a really awesome bike when I was about 6.5, almost 7. It was a beautiful bike, and I'll show you guys a picture of that sometime. Vera Rides a Bike by Vera Rosenberry. I wonder if this is about her. So Vera Rosenberry dedicates this book for Raman. This is really his story and in memory of his beautiful red tricycle. And you see the bird actually said that. Vera didn't. Ha ha ha. And that looks like a robin. So look, I've got a robin too. Ah. Did your friend say that? Yes, yes. It's amazing what you can hear us say when you actually listen. Thank you, Robin. One fragrant spring day, Vera and her mother went to the park. Vera rode her tricycle. She whistled a cheery tune as she pushed the pedals up and down. Look at that bike. What a cool bike. She has a paper in the wheels so that it looks cool when you're going around. She has tassels on the end of her handlebars. She has a bell too. What a great day to ride a bike. You see all the cool things in this picture? Grass and trees and birds and daffodils and houses and mom. Mom has an umbrella. She's prepared for anything. Vera loved her bright red tricycle. There was a round bell on the right handlebar, streamers flowed out of the hand grips, and crepe paper from the 4th of July parade was still threaded around the front wheel. Look how she's displaying her bike. Like, look how cool my bike is. Inside the park, Vera and her mother watched some fish swimming in a fountain. The sun warmed Vera's face and made golden patterns in the cold water as she dipped her hands in and out, hoping a fish would swim against them. Vera and her mother turned back to continue along the path, but Vera's tricycle was no longer where she had left it. My tricycle! Vera cried, suddenly feeling dizzy and sick. Vera stared at the empty spot. No one was in sight, and it was so quiet that even the birds stopped singing. Dark clouds began to bubble up in the sky. Look at that cool statue. Where's your tricycle? Vera and her mother looked everywhere for her tricycle. They reported its disappearance to the park police officer, who took notes in a tiny book. Everybody said, okay, it was red. It had tassels, and a 4th of July paper, and a belt. Okay, and it was red, right? Red. It began to rain. Sadly, Vera and her mother walked home. Maybe somebody will find it, Mother said as she squeezed Vera's hand. Vera's crying, but no one did. Wow, that's super sad. Weeks went by. Weeks. And summer came. Vera missed her tricycle. She moped on the front steps. You were too big for it anyway, said her sister Elaine. Your knees bumped the handlebars. I know, Vera replied, but it was my very own tricycle, and I loved it. Sometimes Elaine would let Vera practice balancing on her big blue bicycle. Vera sat on the crossbar and scraped her feet along the ground, then raised them up to coast. But Elaine's bike was too big for Vera to ride properly. Yeah, she couldn't sit on the seat, and her feet wouldn't reach the pedals, so that's probably not her size. One Saturday, Vera's father said he had a surprise. There in the driveway was a small green bicycle, just the right size for Vera. This was Elaine's first bicycle, her father said. I repaired it and painted it your favorite color. It was supposed to be for your birthday in November, but since your tricycle is gone, you may have it now. Wow, look how excited she is. Look at that. Vera remembered the broken and battered little bike, which used to be purple. She liked it much better green. It looked new again. She kicked up the stand and happily walked her beautiful bicycle down the driveway. Look, it has a rack on the back. What would you put on that rack? Maybe books from the library? Here, said her mother, you will need this. Vera carefully strapped on a new white helmet. Father held the bike and she mounted the seat. Her feet reached the pedals perfectly. Vera felt very big. Maybe we ought to put on training wheels, Father suggested. No, thank you, said Vera. I don't need them. I can balance well already. Father ran along on the sidewalk, holding the bicycle while Vera learned to pedal. After a while, he occasionally let go. Do you remember the first time you were on a two-wheel bicycle and you realized that you were riding it all by yourself? Oh, it was the best feeling. Almost every day after dinner, Father and Mother helped Vera ride her bicycle in the schoolyard. Soon she could balance by herself after someone started her off. Then she would circle around and call out when she needed to be stopped. One evening, everyone was busy when Vera wanted to ride her bike. She put on her helmet and walked her bike to the schoolyard alone. So what are they busy doing? Mom looks like she's writing a letter. Dad is playing the cello. And the sister, what was her name? Elaine? Something like that? Is putting together a puzzle. Everyone is occupado. Vera saw Norman. He was going down the slide head first. I bet you can't ride that bike by yourself, Norman said. Yes, I can, Vera replied. But will you hold it so I can start? Sure, Norman agreed. Very proudly, Vera rode around the school on the smooth slate sidewalk. Norman was now on the swing set, watching her. He waved as she flew by. After a long time, Vera wanted to stop. She looked for Norman. He was not on the swing set anymore, so Vera rode around again. Norman, she called, pedaling slowly. Norman was not in the sandbox. He was not in the slide or on the monkey bars. He must have gone home. Around and around Vera went. She wanted to go home too. Oh, that's sad that she can't stop by herself. She has to keep riding forever. Help! Vera yelled. I can't stop! But there was no one in the schoolyard to hear her, and the sun was beginning to set. Vera thought maybe she could ride all the way home, but she would have to cross some streets, and she couldn't stop to look for cars. Around and around Vera went. Her legs were tired, and the air was chilly. Finally, Vera said firmly to herself, I will just have to use the brakes and stop myself, or I will be here all night. You know, if that ever happens to you, you could ride on the grass and go slowly, 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 and then just sort of fall over. And hopefully you'll get hurt. So Vera turned into the big kite flying field to help slow her down. See? She took my advice. She closed her eyes tight and pressed backward very hard on the pedals. Her bicycle stopped, but Vera didn't. She flew into the air and onto the long, soft grass. Vera lay in the sweet-smelling field. It was quiet, and she was happy to be still at last. Carefully, she got up and dusted herself off. Her knees and elbows were skinned and grass-stained, but she was not hurt. By now, the sky was almost dark. Vera walked her bicycle home as quickly as she could. She shivered, and her legs felt rubbery. In front of her house, Vera's parents ran up to meet her. Where have you been, Vera? They asked. It's nearly dark. We were so worried. But when they saw how tired and dirty Vera looked, they were just happy she was safely home. Vera's legs and arms were not working very well. Mother had to help her take a bath. Oh, look, they put Band-Aids on her knees. Father tucked her into bed, and Vera said, now I can ride my bicycle all by myself. I even use the brakes. She smiled and yawned. Father kissed her goodnight. Tricycles are good when you're small, Vera thought as she closed her eyes, but riding my bicycle is almost like flying. And look, she had a dream she's flying. Yay. Yeah, I really love my bicycle. I hope you have a bicycle, and I hope you get to ride around safely and all that stuff. So I just wanted to show you, let me get this book out of the way. It's probably a little too glary for the camera. This is Revolution Rail Co. It's a magnet. I bought from them when I went on this journey with my mom, my sister, and my nephew. We took that rail trail for my mom's birthday, and she really liked it. She had a lot of fun, and I think you have fun too. So you can get in touch with these guys and schedule a time for you and your family to go riding on the rail trail. And they also have a rail trail up in New York State. I think it's by Lake George, and it's supposed to be really beautiful. It's on an old railroad track that actually crosses the Hudson River. So I think that is definitely a trip that is going to be in my future. We hope you enjoyed story time. Big shouts out to the Revolution Rail Co. and Kate May and all the staff there and my family for willing to be in our story time. We hope you enjoyed. Please subscribe to our YouTube channel. Thank you so much for tuning into Storytime. So until next time, we say happy reading, take care of yourselves, and goodbye. Yay! Woo! Party! Party at the rail trail! Woo-hoo! Hey, we got a snake! Yee! Ooh. Ooh. Hello, welcome to crafting with Miss Adaria and her hands and all this stuff. Yay! Woo! So what are we doing today? Well, I don't know. Let's see. Let me just lift all these things off of here and see what's happening. We are, yes, that's right. You guessed it. We are going to build a railroad train. What? So you can use any color paper that you want. The more colors, the better. But these are the components that you're going to need for your railroad train. First of all, let me get all these pieces of paper out of the way for a second so you can see what you need. First, you're going to need that part of the engine, and you're also going to need, and I'll cut it out and we can look at it too. this is going to be an old-fashioned train. So it's probably a train that was powered by coal. And you're going to need all of these wonderful things. 2 big circles, 2 small circles. I don't know what that is on the train. I tried to figure it out, but I couldn't. A front part of the train. That's kind of helps get stuff off the track in front of the train if there's anything. It's like a scoop thing. I don't know what it's called. I don't have the technical term for it. And then this piece is going on the bottom. So let me cut out all the pieces and lay them out so that you could see. I cut some of them out already. I just wanted to cut some out so that you wouldn't have to sit there and watch me cut stuff out. So here is this part of the train. This is a cool train. I like this train. And we could turn this over so you don't have to see the pencil marks. Alrighty then. Let's get rid of these little scraps. Bye-bye. So basically it's going to look like this, right? With this on the bottom. And you've got 2 big wheels. And 2 smaller wheels. With that thing. Oh, you know what I know what I forgot. Okay. And that thing on the front. So it's basically going to look like that. So if you want to pause the video for a second and look at all the different components that you need, that's what you're going to need to make your train. And something that I forgot, which we can do in, let's say, the green color, because we don't have too much of that, is the place where the steam comes out of. That's very important. So it basically looks like, here, we'll do it over here. It just looks like, I'm going to use the ruler. That's helped me with these other. So I'm going to do it right here. It's just going to be like a couple of inches. And it has a little triangle on top of it where the steam comes out. So you could do something like that. Almost looks like a really long little house with a roof. Okay, and you can cut that out too. All right, that might even be a little too long, so I'm going to cut it down just a little bit. That's a little bit better. And let me even out the triangle. And what we're going to do with this is you're going to glue it onto this big piece of blue paper that I have on the background. So you have something to glue all these things onto, and you're going to use that type of glue to get it on, because it's so much easier than using liquid glue. We like the glue stick. So I'm just going to go ahead and cut all these little doodads out, and then we can assemble our train. Oh, I forgot the window. And that's the window. Yay! So that the person that is driving the train can see what's going on. All right, so that's the thing. We'll do the wheels. And we might speed up the cutting out time. I'm not sure, just so you don't have to watch me do this for however long it might take. We don't have too much to cut out though, so it's just these wheels. So you'll see if we cut it out or not. I mean, if we speed it up or not. Because you know why? Because it'll either be speed it up or not. There's another wheel and the two big wheels. Speaking of big wheels, did you ever have a big wheel? I had a big wheel when I was growing up, and I really loved it. With that brake, I used to ride around in a parking lot and do the brake, and my big wheel would kind of swerve around in a circle if I was going really fast. I loved it. My friends lived in Collingswood, which is over by Philadelphia, but on the Jersey side. And they lived across the street from some kind of place that you could rent for weddings. And so during the week it was empty, and they had a big parking lot. And I used to ride my bike, my big wheel, and eventually my bicycle in that parking lot. But man, we had some fun. Me and my friends, the friends that were in the neighborhood. Okay, so now we can get to gluing our train together. This is going to be very exciting. So the first thing you want to do is make sure that you have enough room to construct your train. So you want to put this part right in the middle and get some glue stick on there. And I'm going to put the glue stick on this piece of white paper because it's scrap paper, so I don't get it on the tablecloth or on my blue piece of paper. Just go all around the edges and do a couple of spots in the middle so it'll stay on. And just place it down with confidence. Like you will live here now. And we hope you will be happy on this blue piece of paper. Mr. Train. And do the same thing for this part. All around the edges. Make sure you get glue, especially in the corners. Otherwise it's going to start curling up on you. And then just do a couple of zigzags in the middle. You can use the glue stick to pick it up with sometimes. And you want to put this one, let's just put the red one there as a guide. You want to put this one pretty much right on top of the red. We'll put the red one down next, but I have to cut the red one a little bit. And then smooth it down. And this is the engine. This is where your engine is. That's where all the action happens, right? Okay. Then we get the red part, which is sort of like the undercarriage that holds the wheels. And I'm just using my pencil to mark that we need to cut it about right there. And then just snip off the end. And glue this little baby. Start at that end, and then you just lay it down carefully, and it should fit. And again, you can use any color that you want to, any color at all. You don't have to use the colors that I did. You can use any color you want, and you can make your train all one color, or you can make it two colors, or you can make it very colorful like I have it. And while we're at it, let's put the window on there. So that the train, the driver can see out the window. All right, that's looking good. Now what else? What should we put on next? What do you think? Should we put the wheels on? Oh, I think the wheels are very important. Let's see which side has the pencil. I think that's the pencil side. So we'll put the glue on the same side as the pencil. Okay, here we go. Get ready. Glue those little wheels. You could put glue on the whole circle. I think that would be good. Just make sure you get enough on the edges too, because they're not too big. And you want your wheels to come down a little bit lower than that red strip to make sure that they have enough place to be on the tracks. Oh no, we didn't make any tracks, but we could. I think I might make some tracks with the magic marker when we're done. And then the two little wheels. Let's do the purple one first. Two little wheels can be here. Make sure actually that the wheels are kind of lined up on the bottom, otherwise it won't make sense. Get those wheels on there. Oh, it's coming together. I like the way this is looking. I think that's how that goes, right? It doesn't go any other way except for that way. Okay. And do you know what shape this is? It's a triangle. Yay, there's lots of shapes in this craft, aren't there? We've got a square, a rectangle, circles, and a triangle. And I knock my glue paper over. Come back, glue paper. Let's do our smokestack next. Hold on, the front part doesn't want to stay down. Get a little more glue on there. Maybe put a little glue on the paper. Smash it down. Now it works. No, it's gluing itself. So here's our smokestack. That's what I'm going to call it anyway. The place where the steam comes out from the engine. And I don't know what this is, but this was in the craft. Maybe it's a bell. Let's call it the bell. Maybe it's some other part of the engine that I don't really know about, but I like the bell. Ding, ding, ding. What else? Am I forgetting something? I don't think so. I think that's our train. We can put a thing like this to show that that's happening. We can put tracks. Try not to draw on the tablecloth. You could draw a track like that to make it look like it's going on something. We could put somebody driving it if you want to. Maybe it's you. Are you driving the train? This is you driving the train. You can see how well Miss Adoria draws people, which is not very well at all. You can have your little railroad cap on. Hey. Let me give you some hair. Here's your neck. There's some body. And here's your hand, and guess what you're doing? You're waving at us. Yay! And I don't know what you're doing with your other arm. Probably, hopefully, steering the train, or maybe you have your hand on the brake. And there is our train. Do you love it? Choo choo! Chicka 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 chicka. I know, you could draw a sign that says library with an arrow going that way. That's right. Ta-da! Hope you like your train craft today. I love cutting stuff out and pasting stuff and making it look like something else. So there you go. Thanks again so much to the folks at the Revolution Rail in Cape May. Please go and do that if you haven't. It's so much fun. To my family and to everybody, for you guys for tuning in. We really love seeing that you're watching our shows, and we're hoping you're enjoying them. And please subscribe if you haven't yet, and come and visit us at the library, because we'd love to see you here. So thank you so much. Take care, and thanks for tuning in. See you next time. Bye.